Okay, here we go. Lesson 4-4, using congruent triangles, CPCTC. And that's going to be something we're going to be using, okay? So California Content Standards, make sure you write those down. And our essential question, how do you buy chicken feet if nobody sells them? Okay. Is that really our essential question? Sort of. You'll see as we come along, okay? I want you to keep it in mind, okay? So, let's see what our essential questions are. Okay, essential questions. Question 1, if you needed to show a particular part of a triangle is congruent to a particular part of another triangle, and you don't have any information on that part, but you have information on the other part, what could you do? So hopefully by the end of this little video, you'll be able to figure that out. How is this question related to chicken feet question? Okay. And question number 3. Think of a time in your life that you were unable to solve a problem directly, but you found a way to work it out. How is that related to CPCTC? Okay, before we can even think of those questions, we need to see what in the world is CPCTC. Okay, CPCTC stands for congruent parts of congruent triangles are congruent. Okay, so this is the idea with this section, okay? This is just kind of a note. If you have two triangles, okay, I know these triangles are ugly, but we're going to be quick. Okay, and I say this is congruent to this side. This side is congruent to this one. And this one is congruent to this one. Then I have side angle side. And so I know these three pieces here are congruent. Let's label this A, B, C, D, E, F. And I know that AB is congruent to DE. And I know that angle A is congruent to angle D. And that side AC is congruent to side DF. How do I know those things? They are given. Okay. And when those are given, we have, what is that? Side, angle, side. So I know that triangle ABC is congruent to triangle DEF. And previously, this is where we stopped. We said our triangles are congruent, and we're going to stop right there. So, but we're going to take this a step further. What's going to happen is, since I have my triangles congruent, do you remember the definition for congruent triangles? Do you remember that? Okay. So if I have all this information, I just show that triangle ABC is congruent to triangle DEF. Okay. And we can stop right there, right? Side angle side. And I should. If we were doing a little bit more formal, okay, these are given. And we know these are congruent by side angle side. What else could we say? Now that I know these are congruent, I can add the rest of these things. I can now say that angle B is congruent to angle E. I can say that angle C is congruent to angle F. And I can also say, let me see, I have AB and DE, AC and DF. I can say this last one, BC is congruent to segment BC is congruent to segment EF. Okay? So there you go. That's the whole idea. If I can show that my triangles are congruent with these three parts, then I can see the rest of them will be congruent. Okay? So I use these to prove this, because what I really want to show is one of these. And you'll see that in a second. Okay? That is our next example. Okay, so let's look at that. Okay, this is example 1. This is in your book. And it says umbrella frame. In an umbrella frame, the stretchers are congruent and they open to angles of equal measure. And where's stretchers? This is a stretcher. It's just this side and this side here. So they are congruent. That's what the little red mark is. And they open to angles of equal measure. So when you open this umbrella, this angle is going to be the same as this angle. Okay, prove that the angles formed by the shaft and the rib are congruent. So here is the shaft. There it tells you. This is the shaft, and this is a rib. So we want to show, what we want to prove is that angle 3 is congruent to angle 4. Notice we have no information on these angles. What we have is information on this and this and this. Okay, now do you see the triangles that we are going to work with? We're going to be working with this triangle and this triangle. Okay, so let's draw that out. Okay, there are our triangles, and let's label all these things. This is what we want to show, that 3 and 4 are congruent. We don't know that, but what we do know is that this side is congruent to this side, and that angle 1 is congruent to angle 2. And we have some labels here. L, here's C, this is R, and this is S. Okay. So by what we just said is we're going to work on checking these here and to see if we can show that our triangles are congruent. If our triangles are congruent, we'll be able to say all the other parts are congruent. So let's get started. And we have, I know that's crooked. Statements. And reasons. Okay, statements. So let's put the given part first. SL, segment SL, is congruent to segment SR. Right there. That is given. We know that angle 1 is congruent to angle 2. That is also given. Okay, so we have those two things. We have a side and an angle. And what are our possibilities? We have 4 shortcuts to show that these two triangles are congruent. We have side, 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 angle, side, angle, side, angle, and angle, angle, side. Those are the 4. So we have a side and an angle. So I don't think it's going to be this one. And I need to see, can I get information about another side or another angle? This is what we are looking for. And I notice that I have this side here, which is on both triangles. So that's CS. So I know that CS is congruent to CS. How do I know that? What's my reason, guys? Right, reflexive. Okay, so now I have that side, angle, side. Now I can say that triangle CLS is congruent to triangle CRS. How do I know that? Side, angle, side. Okay, but what I wasn't trying to show that. What I really need to know is that angle 3 is congruent to angle 4. Well, since these are congruent, by definition of this, or by, I can say angle 3 is congruent to angle 4 because congruent parts of congruent triangles are congruent. And that's it, guys. Okay, so let's try one more problem. Okay, so I have angle Q congruent to angle R, angle QPS congruent to angle RST, and these are given. And I want to show that SQ is congruent to PR. Let's get that. Okay, so first we'll write the given, and I'm just going to take a picture of that. And so we'll call this 1, call this 2. And how do I know that? Given. Okay, now I need to see how am I going to show that I don't have any information, so I need to work with the whole triangle rather than just a piece of it. So what I'm going to see, I have this angle, and again, what are my options? Oh, and there are my options right there. Okay, I have angle, angle, so it's going to be one of these. So angle, angle, and I need to see, is it angle, side angle, or angle, angle, side? Angle, angle, side. Okay, again, here we have this triangle. What do we have here? We have those in common. So I can say PS is congruent to PS. How do I know that? Reflexive. Okay. Okay. And are we done? We've got a couple more steps. Now I know that triangle PRS is congruent to triangle S, and R goes with Q, and then SQ and P. By, what is this? I have angle, angle, side, angle, angle, side. Okay? And I'm going to leave you to write the last line. What goes here? What goes here? What was I trying to prove in the first place? And did we do it? Okay. See you in class.